Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my November 2019 horoscope report for you. This month we have double the sweet aspects compared to the salty ones, and when that happens, it sets a mood for the general transits that's harmonious and happy. And we have Mercury Retrograde, and Mercury in Retrograde brings things from the past back into the forefront. So when we have the combination of sweetness in the stars and Mercury Retrograde, it tends to bring sweet things from the past, happiness from the past, projects from the past, and even work that was done in the past coming to fruition or outcomes coming in a wonderful way. So we have all of that as an increased possibility in store. The mood of the month is very much still dominated by Scorpio because most of the personal planets are putting their energy through that filter, and that means it's a lot of emotional intensity. So it's definitely an emotional month, but it's definitely a good sign that there are more sweet aspects because the chance for breakthroughs are much more likely when that happens. We have Sag energy starting to dribble in, and so Sagittarius tends to show us the light at the end of the tunnel, especially when it's happening amidst this emotional time. So if you've been moving through an emotional tunnel, the Sag light at the end will start to become more apparent, and towards the end of the month that will get stronger and set us up for the Sagittarius party that is going to happen in December. So the mood will definitely start to lighten throughout the month. Something else huge that we have going on is one of my favorite aspects of the whole year, which is the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. So we're going to talk about what that can bring in general, and we're also going to zero in on your personal chart to see what field of experience that's going to occur, so you know where extra goodies can be from that aspect. I'll also share that date. I'm going to share with you all of the dates that are challenging, all of the dates that are sweet, so that you can mark them in your calendar. Also, we have eclipse rumblings. The eclipses are going to start showing up in big ways. December and January, we have eclipses, but we can often see manifestations, news, trajectory changes from the eclipses at least 4 to 6 weeks before they occur. That's why I always talk about them early, because here in November, we are very likely to see things coming in from that December eclipse. So I'm going to give you more information about that, a lot of information about the eclipse cycle so you can understand it for your patterns and your storylines. And I'll also, again, zero in on where exactly, what field of experience in your chart you will see this eclipse manifest and what kinds of things I've tended to see go along with that. I'm an astrology teacher, so I always use the charts to show you why things may happen instead of just what may happen. So if you want to learn, you're definitely in store for a wonderful learning experience. You can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, to see many more free blogs. I also have tons of other resources on there, including signing up for my free email newsletter, which gets you a general transit write-up of all the dates, all the aspects that are notable, and what you can expect from them 1 month early in your inbox. And if you love how I teach and you want to learn, you can see my astrology apprenticeship program at anniehelpsyou.com, as well as my other offerings. And definitely check out my book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, a wonderful spiritual companion for anyone who's seeking and who wants to create the life of their dreams. So you can go to radicalprayerbook.com. So let's see what the stars have in store for you. Hello, Pisces friends. Welcome to my November 2019 horoscope report for you. With a month continuing to be dominated by Scorpio placements, a fellow water sign, there are going to be lots of beautiful, harmonious, mathematical interactions in the sky that can bring lots of blessings into your life as manifestations of those connections. I'm going to talk about many things that will be true for all Pisces placements, but I will also drill down into much more detail and talk about things that will affect early, middle, and late degree placements differently. So depending on where you are in the Pisces spectrum, there can be some differences in how you experience the transits and possibly timing of some of the transits as well. So let's figure out where you are. Early degree Pisces, you're February born or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle degree, around March 1st through 10th or 10 to 19 degrees. Late degree, March 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. If you have that degree information for your Pisces placement, and this can be either Pisces moon, Pisces rising, or Pisces sun, this report is for you for any of those placements. the degree placement is going to be the one that you want to go with versus my estimated dates. The estimated dates are to help you out if you don't know the degrees. But if you do know the degrees, then those will take precedence. Pisces moon, Pisces rising, and Pisces sun all are relevant, or this report is relevant for all of those placements, because the moon chart, the sun chart, the rising chart all show us different aspects of truth and different layers of truth in our bigger astrological picture. Okay, so I'm going to spend some time talking about the movement of the personal planets, which are the ones closest to us, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and what those movements are going to look like this month, and how that is going to connect with your Pisces placement. I'm using the late degree chart, but I am talking about all Pisces placements unless I differentiate out, in which case I will clearly indicate that. Astrology is a science, and the science is based in math. Angles that planets make with other planets flavor the energetic quality of the experience of that interaction. So when planets are in a fellow water sign, in this case Scorpio, they make 120-degree angles with your Pisces placements. These are the most harmonious in all of astrology. So it tends to be that in the period of time that planets are in the sky in a cluster in the same sign, making aspects with your sign in a harmonious way, that there will be more blessings and ease in those connections. And as we mentioned before, this tilt of Mercury retrograde, occurring at pretty much this whole month, is going to bring in things from the past. Okay, so because there are so many sweet aspects, these would be multiple opportunities for blessings from the past. The sun is going to be moving through 8 degrees through 29 degrees of Scorpio in November. That means that anyone with Pisces placements from 8 degrees to 29 degrees, or basically all the middle degree Pisces, and all the late degree Pisces, and some of the end of early, are going to have the sun kiss your placement. So that brings vitality, warmth, energizes, can amplify, can bring things to light, can bring things into the spotlight, can bring resources. So we have that going on with the sun. Okay, that's the representation for the sun. Mercury is in retrograde this month, and it is going from 27 degrees back to 11 degrees this month. And then it will go, when it goes direct on the 20th, from 11 degrees back up to 17 degrees. Okay, so anyone basically from 11 to 27 degrees, and again, this is all middle and all late degree placements, you're going to have Mercury kiss your Pisces placement either once or twice. If you're between 11 and 17 degrees, you're going to get 2 kisses this month. So since Mercury rules information, this can bring kisses, information, news related to past things. Now, even though the odds of notable manifestations are increased for middle and late because of the exact contact, all early, middle, and late degree placements have the chance for awesomeness and sweetness and harmony to come from these connections of the planets. And early friends, you're not left out here. Mars actually is going to just be entering Scorpio on November 21st. So in the end part of the month, the last 10 days of the month, Mars is going to move from 1 through 7 degrees of Scorpio. So all of you that were not kissed by these sun placements or these Mercury placements, you are going to be the ones that are kissed by these Mars placements. Okay, so we talked about the sun bringing energy. We talked about Mercury bringing news, information. Now for you early degree placements, Mars is more likely to bring action. Okay, spurring action. So things that come in, opportunities that come in, you'll have the drive to take some action. And as of the 20th, Mercury's direct, so it will be starting to get more clear for taking action. Okay, so if the impetus comes in the last 10 days for you to take action, maybe if you have a little bit of time, after the first 9 or so days of December, you'll have completely clear stars to implement the things that, came in as an impetus during this time. As the planets start to move into Sagittarius, as will be happening throughout the month, there will be a little bit of awkwardness or overwhelm because the aspects that Sagittarius placements make to Pisces is a square. Okay, so let's just look at that really fast. So Sag placements make a 1, 2, 3. So it's 30 degrees in each sign. 3 times 3 is 90 degree. 90-degree angle is a square. That's a challenging angle. That's a bump. That could be a disturbance. That could be a challenge. So you might notice in general, Pisces friends, that the time of the year when the planets start to move into Sagittarius is a little bit more awkward, a little bit more overwhelming. So like end of November, December, you can get more overwhelmed. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be that there's so much excitement and so many things going on that your sensitivities are just, overwhelmed. And this can be because there's holiday things. This could be there's, some other things that need attention in your life, and you might not be able to take as much time to retreat into your personal space, which could cause overwhelm. So especially starting towards the end of the month and definitely into December, really try to guard your personal space, try to keep balance, and this is for all early, middle, and late degree placements, because as these Sag connections roll in, you'll have some conflicts. Also, the energy of Sagittarius is an active energy. It wants action. And sometimes Pisces energy is more internal. So there might be some clashes between your emotions and confusion about exactly what to take action on. And this also could possibly manifest that there could be so many options, because Sag energy tends to bring a ton of options and possibilities, that you could be overwhelmed just from the sheer volume of options. So that could be a, positive / challenging at the same time way that these energies can manifest as you try to sort through the possibilities to pick the best things for yourself. In general, this month is a month where many opportunities will come in, and at the same time, if you want to do something in the outer realms with them, try to keep the information and the strategies closer to yourself this month, unless there's some clear, intuitive, or other impetus otherwise, because the Mercury post-transit shadow period will end around December 9th, and that opens up this beautiful open period for all the rest of December, from December 9th through all of December, all of January to the beginning of February, of taking action, launches, making big decisions. So information, opportunities, blessings may come in at this time, but in order to figure out how to best use them, you might need a couple of weeks after November to really get your plan together with what you're going to do with what's come in. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is this Jupiter-Venus conjunction. Okay, so on November 24th, Venus is going to get to the same place as Jupiter, which is going to be at 28 degrees of Sag. Okay, so for early degree placements, this is going to occur in the 10th house. I'll talk about this in a second. I just want to show everybody where it's going to be. For middle degree placements, it's also going to be in the 10th house. For late degree placements, this magical combination is likely going to be in the 10th house for most of you, but some of you very late degree placements might experience this in the 9th house. So all Pisces placements have a chance for, well, first of all, let's talk about what Jupiter and Venus mean together. Venus rules love, beauty, and money. Jupiter rules expansion and growth. The energy of Sagittarius can bring optimism and continued expansion because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so it's like a very Jupiterian-Sagittarian double expansion. So surprise money, expected money, major love news or progress or meetings, boost to self-esteem or certainty or optimism or hope. And so all Pisces placements will have this in or completely influencing the work, career sector, something having to do with father figures, or your path, like your dharmic path, like figuring out what you're wanting to do with your life, what you're here for. So clarity about that can also come in. Now, for the late degree placements, you might experience some of this energy in the ninth house, but really all Pisces placements will have the energy of the ninth house factored into this connection, because the ninth house is ruled by Jupiter and Sagittarius. So just by nature of the connection occurring in the sign of Sagittarius, the ninth house is lit up for actually all signs. And so what that brings in for all Pisces placements is things around teaching, learning, long distance travel, international business or connections, learning different languages, different cultures, publishing, writing, speaking, church or spiritual projects, solutions to problems, relief, and major spiritual breakthroughs. So any of those arenas can come up as something notable occurring for all Pisces placements. And again, that date is November 24th. So sometimes you feel the manifestations in the days before, the day of, or the days after. The last Pisces specific thing I want to talk about has to do with this eclipse that's occurring either December 25th or 26th, depending on your time zone. The eclipse is at 4 degrees of Capricorn. It's a solar eclipse. Solar eclipses tend to bring in new opportunities, new options, movement, new chapters, movement along the continuum with different possibilities coming in. I'm going to show you in the chart what house is being aspected by this eclipse. Then I'm going to give you information about the cycle of the eclipse, when else in history this occurred for you, where we're at in the Cancer Capricorn eclipse cycle that started in the middle of 2018 that goes through the middle of 2020. And I'll give you details about how the house expression, what field of experience and things that will likely come up for you. So this is 4 degrees of Capricorn we're looking for, okay? So 4 degrees of Cap for early degree placements. Some of you are going to have that in the 10th. Some of you are going to have that in the 11th. Talk about how this manifests at some point, but we first want to establish where it is. Middle degree placements, you have it in the 10th, and late degree placements, you also have it in the 10th. Okay, so basically all early, middle, and late degree placements will have 10th house potentials for their solar eclipse, and the early degree placements, you will additionally have 11th house possibilities. Okay, so the setup of the rest of the video is going to be as follows. I'm going to drop in a lesson that talks about this eclipse cycle, helps you understand where in the eclipse cycle we're at so that you can see the storylines that have been at play. Also, when in history this occurred so you can better understand from the past the themes that are likely coming up now. So that will be a drop-in lesson I'm about to put in. The next will be a 10th house Capricorn eclipse tutorial about the fields of experience and things I've tended to see with a 10th house and Capricorn eclipse. And that information will be true for all Pisces placements. Then I'm going to drop in an 11th house lesson, and that piece is only going to be really relevant for the early degree placements. So basically, are February born or 0 to 10 degrees. If you're not an early degree placement, you can fast forward through the few minutes of that 11th house manifestation, and that will bring you to my general transit report. I highly recommend that you stick around for that because I will give you all the dates of the sweet aspects this month, the very many sweet aspects. I will give you the dates of the salty aspects, and I will point out some of the transits of note and give you more information about how those things may manifest, including this very rare transit of Mercury and some other pieces that will definitely be showing up as relevant. Okay, so here is my overview for the Cancer Capricorn eclipse cycles. It's always helpful when we're having an astrological cycle that is relevant at the current time to think back to when it happened before, and also to just kind of understand when it's going to happen again in the future. So the last time the Cancer Capricorn eclipse cycle occurred was between 2009 and 2011. And the next time it will happen after now, because we're in it now, is between 2027 and 2029. So what I have here, I'm going to give you a quick overview and timeline of this cycle and show you what we still have left to kind of understand the timeline. The reason why it's important to understand these dates is because there is a storyline that is taking place over the time from the beginning of the eclipse cycle till the end. And the themes were introduced around the time, sometimes a little early, before, so around July of 2018 or a little bit sooner. The themes that came up, that are going to come up and be present this whole time, started to come up. And then at the end of the cycle, many of the things will have resolved or shifted or come to a conclusion, or whatever that turns out to look like. The reason why I spend so much time and energy in the reports where the eclipse energies are more present is because they tend to bring drama, dramatic conclusions, amazing, brilliant new openings, a shuffling around of energy in a very intense, notable way with major trajectory shifts. And because of this, usually at that period of time, things are going on and people are looking around and saying, what the heck is going on? People around me are going through these massive changes. I'm going through changes. Or sometimes you're a space holder for someone else going through changes and not the one having them. But it's like there's something that seems like it's, in the air, and it literally is in the sky, and it is literally down into our experience. So there's this massive shuffling around of energy. So that law that says matter is not created nor destroyed, or can't be created nor destroyed, it simply changes form, is very much evident at eclipse time. So things will be taken away from a certain area, so they'll be eclipsed out, and then energy will be added in to a new area where these new openings will come as things are crossed out. So that's the typical, just general storyline. So as we get closer, and I usually use 4 to 6 weeks before and after each actual eclipse date as the hot spot, I call it, for the eclipse news. But anything related to any of the themes that are going on for this eclipse cycle can happen during any of this time. It doesn't have to be only right near the hot spots, but the odds are greatly increased that news, events, changes, breakthroughs, openings, closes will occur as we're closer to these dates, and that's why they're important. Okay, so July 2nd, 2018, then January 5th, 2019, and then the most recent ones before now were July 2nd and July 16th. If you want to go back to understand those eclipses and try to make more sense of things that occurred then, you can find the information about what house, meaning field of experience for your sign, the eclipses hit for, okay? So basically, the Cancer Capricorn polarity brings tendencies for certain changes to all signs, and they would have to do with the energy of Cancer and the energy of Capricorn. So every sign has had an increased chance of a lot of shuffling around, notable changes, drama, conclusions, new beginnings in the house of home and family, and in the energy of work and your place out in the world, and the dynamic and push and pull between those places, and energies of mother and father and parenting and maternal energy and paternal energy and your inner authority, your outer authority. Every sign has been having storylines from this eclipse cycle in those polarities. But when it's eclipse time, I also drill down into the houses that they occur for each sign. And that gets even more specific about how it affects you when you were born, what your rising sign is, what your moon sign is. You can look at these reports to drill it down even further. Okay, so for the July eclipse, if you look at my June report, and this is 2019, you can get more insight into that. And then for the July 16th eclipse, again, these happened already, but sometimes retrospectively going back to have understanding is helpful. You can see my July 2019 report for that. Now, bringing us to the present time, we're in the November report, and I am going to be talking about this December 25th eclipse. Depending on your time zone, that might actually happen on the 26th, but in either case, it's at 4 degrees of Capricorn. So, to follow this general drop-in, I'm going to show you where in your personal charts this eclipse is going to hit and what things you can expect with that. Then probably the December report I'll devote to talking about Jupiter moving into Capricorn. There is a chance I might talk about the January of 2020 eclipse in the December report, but I'm not sure yet. So, check out the December, and then definitely know by the January report I will be telling you where this January 10th eclipse will be hitting for you. And then the last eclipse has happened. So you see I have these kind of grouped this way because this is one set, and then this is the last set here, June and July of 2020. So those dates will end out this whole cycle, and things that began here will be getting wrapped up, moving along. And so you can kind of understand that where we're at. So the story in many cases is not done yet. Maybe there will be some kind of conclusion or final chapter that occurs, and then maybe, these ones here are the integration time or follow-up things or something like that. But for the most part, we're in a storyline that's still in process. And regardless of the finality or the occurrences that happen at this time, probably we're going to need until the end of this cycle in order for us to see the conclusion of the story that we are almost done with. So now I'm going to show you the charts of your particular sign and show you what houses or fields of experience this December 25th, 26th eclipse is going to occur, and what themes specifically you can expect with that. Eclipses tend to bring in new opportunities and or dramatic endings and closures or things coming to fruition. The things that tend to be highlighted at a 10th house eclipse time or Capricorn eclipse time are the work sector. So job, boss, coworkers as it relates to your work experience, your career. So ending a job is very, very common at eclipse time, either through getting fired, having a compensation package, or voluntary leaving of the job. Sometimes new opportunities for work come in that you can do on the side of your other work. So a new job opportunity that allows you to keep your current one, so it just kind of adds to. And sometimes it's a lateral movement. Sometimes there's a move for work, so there's a work opportunity, but it requires a move. And sometimes there's a necessity to move, which can necessitate the change for work because of the move. So it can work either way. A lot of times when there's an eclipse in the 10th house, or an eclipse cycle is working in the 10th house or in Capricorn, father or father figures come into the forefront in a bigger way. Sometimes dad has something going on. There could be illness, there could be pressure, there could be something they're experiencing. Sometimes it could just be that the father or father figure is helping you, or that your relationship to father, either through forgiveness or through other, collaboration, could be coming into the forefront. So projects with dad, relationship with dad is often going to come into the forefront. Authority figures, which again usually has a basis in what your relationship was like with your father as a child, or your father figure, or lack of father figure, but clashes with authority, including like legal or police matters, sometimes come for people, or bosses, or you being your own authority, finding your inner authority, or, kind of like being an authority to somebody else, management positions or stepping into those type of roles. For those who don't work or have a career or need to make money, the energy of the place out in the world can often come up at eclipse time with a 10th house or Capricorn eclipse, where there's a finding of a dharmic path, like this is what I'm supposed to do, which may or may not be related to money. But stepping out into the world, taking one's role in the world, doing what someone came here to do. Sometimes there's movement along those fronts, either through accomplishment, like you accomplish a goal of what you set out to do, or through greater discovery about what it is exactly that you're supposed to do. One of the resources that I really love for this is a book called Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. She's my favorite astrologer, and this book has had the most influence on me. So that her book can help you through a certain placement in your chart to better understand the pitfalls that keep you away from doing what you're supposed to do and what your highest expression is and how to get there. So I highly recommend that for everybody, especially when this cycle is occurring. The energy of discipline and responsibility. So some people have too much discipline and too much responsibility, in which cases these eclipses could cut out something that you were responsible for. It could be, maybe a child is graduating from college, or, something is happening where there's an ending to what you were responsible for. Maybe you had a goal and you were disciplined to get there and you reached the goal and now you can lighten up a bit. And for others, it will bring up the question of possibly needing more discipline. So something could occur from the outside, or an impetus can occur from the inside to get a strategy together, to be more responsible, to be more accountable, to take more ownership, and get back more feeling like you're in the driver's seat of your life through your work and discipline and your strategy or bigger plan. So strategies can end, shift, be new, come into fruition. Lots of movement in all of these areas at this time. Eclipses usually tend to bring something very emotional that's occurring. And the emotion is centered around the house and the sign that the eclipse is occurring. Some people will have close mathematical tie-ins to their personal chart with certain eclipses that will make them more of kind of in the experience of the changes. Other people will have others around them going through changes and hold the space for those people. And some people have both going on. You'll notice there are times where you're like, what the heck is going on here? Everyone's going through so much. And a lot of times those coincide with these eclipse cycles. When there's an eclipse in the 11th house or the sign of Aquarius, there are certain sectors of life that are brought into focus. Eclipses tend to bring dramatic endings, things coming to completion or fruition, like through goal and accomplishment, or sometimes through just an abrupt surprise ending that's completely out of your control. Sometimes they also bring in new opportunities, brilliant, awesome things that just come to you or that come from things that you cultivated in the past. So the 11th house and Aquarius sectors that will tend to be highlighted with these eclipses in these areas, are friendships. Sometimes a sudden incoming of a new friend or a person of consequence, whether it's an acquaintance or a key contact, or the ending of a friendship through someone moving or, transitioning, or through an argument or a falling out. Falling outs with a friendship can occur. Changes in your relationship with certain friendships can also happen, where maybe there's been an unhealthy dynamic and you could be moving along a continuum to having more functionality in this key relationship, but also in your relationships in general. Changes to your place in the group. So finding your footing, like finding your tribe, finding, people who you resonate with and your place within that group, or feeling alienated in certain groups and having to regain your footing and figure out where it is you feel like you really belong. Friendship circles can change. Dating opportunities can come, especially through online or friends trying to set you up with somebody. And definitely with things like this, pay attention to what the other factors I talk about as far as personal planet retrogrades, that flavor the period of time that the eclipse is happening. But in general, dating and acquaintances and friendship circles and groups, like let's say you're part of a philosophy group, or let's say you're on a team of some sort within your work, or for a hobby, or for an interest or something like that. Changes in those sectors are very common at this time. Finding a new group is also very common, or losing resonance with a current group. People, when they're having eclipse cycles in the 11th house, will often be reevaluating their friendships and reevaluating their social circles, and also reevaluating social media and the relationship to social media. So the new, the starting of social media accounts, the progressing of social media work, or the stepping away from and reevaluation of social media. Anything internet-based is also here. So, launching websites, internet work, getting your work out into the world in a bigger way. Creating online communities, or anything community-based in person. So having community efforts, grassroots things, are all coming into the forefront with a greater frequency. Work with large organizations, either as part of one or like collaborating with. And humanitarian efforts, so nonprofits or working with something that's already established, can tend to come up in a bigger way. The 11th house and the energy of Aquarius is also the sector of your big dreams, not the ones you have at night, but the dreams that you have for your life. So evaluation and reevaluation of what it is that you would love if you didn't have any limitations, if you didn't have any obstacles. What is it that you would just really love to do? So the figuring out of that and movement along actually doing something on the topic of your big dreams is something that can also come in a big way. So opportunities, resources, shifts in that arena, or those arenas, would be more likely at this time. Inventions and anything else with technology or future-based efforts are also related to this house and sign, as are unconventional relationships, unconventional ways of doing things. So like cutting edge, new information, being on the leading edge of expansion. So projects that could be related to things like that can come to fruition, or can come in a big way, or move along in a progression. Okay, so I'm going to give you the visuals on the general transits that will affect all signs for November 2019. And definitely remember that what I'm giving you here is a summary of some of the things to watch out for. If you want a more complete written list of the general transits that are most notable and the energies and potentials that go along with them, delivered into your inbox 1 month early, then definitely go to AnnieHelpsYou.com. And at AnnieHelpsYou.com, you can sign up for my free email newsletter. Annie Helps You, that's supposed to say YOU. It's not legible. Then you sign up for my free email newsletter, and I will send you a written report about this general transit energy a month beforehand, so that you have it for your planning purposes and you have it, as a visual. Okay, so like I mentioned, the first thing to know about this month is that there are around 12 awesome aspects and around 6 more challenging ones. So whenever we have a month where there's like double the nice ones compared to the challenging ones, then it sets a tone for the month that is super sweet. Now, as I always give this disclaimer, I will give it again. The general transits are just that. They're general. They're happening. This is one layer of absolute truth that is occurring for everyone. But your personal chart, the way the planets are hitting in your actual chart, which we can't see a lot of that. We can see the sun sign, the rising sign in the horoscopes, but there are all these planets here in your chart. And the way that the current planetary arrangements are hitting all of those planets for you could cause you to have a different experience than is the general theme or mood, okay? But now back to, speaking about this general mood, it's super sweet because we have so much more of this sweet aspect energy. The second very important thing to remember, and we'll look at this in the chart, is that Mercury is going retrograde. I talked in detail about Mercury retrograde in October because I always talk about things early because we feel them happening early. So between October 31st or November 1st, depending on your time zone, Mercury is actually going to start its retrograde process. On October 12th, it started its pre-shadow or its pre-transit shadow period. So every day from October 12th through the 31st, we were going deeper into the energies of Mercury retrograde, which is why I talked about them in the October reports. But now, on these days, it's actually occurring. Okay, so this Mercury is going to go back. Now, again, you see this, we're not looking at, we're looking at not the house configurations for this chart because we're not looking at a certain sign. We're just looking at the mathematical relationships between the planets. So this reading is for everybody. So Mercury is going to go back from 27 degrees of Scorpio back to 11 degrees of Scorpio. And so if you have any placements that are between 27 and 11 degrees, that especially in mathematical, connection to Scorpio, then is going to be more intense for you. And I did talk about more of those details in the October reports for all signs, but just to kind of, have a guideline here. Since it stays retrograde until November 20th, the whole mood of the month has to do with things from the past. Now, some new things can pop through, but there's going to be this strong theme of energies from the past. So I'm calling it sweetness from the past because there's so much sweetness and the energy is tilted, backwards. Now, we also talked about the fact that there are eclipse rumblings, and there are because as early as November, you may start to see some eclipse news come in, but you can definitely look to the sign reports, individual sign reports for November to see where they're going to hit for each of your signs and also have an overview of this eclipse cycle. The days of the sweet aspects, okay, so we'll put our big smiley face here. Okay, so November 3rd, 8th, 9th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 23rd, 24th, 26th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. Sometimes the energies from the transits that happen on a certain day can be felt before or after that day. So don't hang your hat too closely to the exact day, but just kind of know that there's a lot of sweetness around the days here. The challenging ones are on the 5th, 11th, 14th, 20th, 24th, and 26th. You notice how sometimes the same day will have either an aspect that could go either way or multiple aspects, one that could be sweet and one that could be salty. You see that happening actually on the 24th too, and also on the 11th. The 24th of November is one of my favorite days of the whole year, because it is the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. And this is very potentially expansive to love, self-esteem, money, blessings, luck, just amazing things coming out of the blue. In this case, since the energies are in Sagittarius, which is, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so there's some extra energy of Sag in this storyline. There's even potential for more luck since Sagittarius rules good luck and expansion and things involving education and publishing and traveling and learning and teaching and spiritual evolution. So definitely put a nice big star in the days around here. Now, do remember, of course, like we talked about, there is also a salty aspect on the 24th and 26th. So those things could also be happening, but this is still a pretty powerful aspect to note. Something else really important to note as well is November 11th. November 11th has an aspect that day. The Sun in Scorpio is conjunct Mercury. Okay, so then that day, this and this will get together and amplify each other's energy, bringing potential intensity for better or worse. But occurring on that same day is a very rare transit of Mercury. Okay, so this only happens around 13 times in a century. And the next times they'll happen will be 2032 and 2039. For your reference to think back, if there was anything notable that occurred for you, the last time this happened was May 9th, 2016. It also happened November 8th, 2006, May 7th, 2003, November 15th, 1999. So sometimes it's really helpful to be able to go back and see if periods of time had something noteworthy for you, because sometimes that can help you better understand how the energy may manifest. So basically with the transit of Mercury, for a short time with a telescope, you can actually see Mercury, tiny, very tiny, crossing over the path of the Sun. So that's a pretty cool astronomical occurrence, but it also turns out to be energetically a very cool astrological occurrence. And so, you know, it just can add to the intensity. Mercury rules news and travel and communication and devices for that. So breakthroughs in communication, really big news, really big physical shifts, things like that could be prominent at this time. Okay, so those are the things most on my mind, just to give you a summary of this month of the general transits. Definitely sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com, because you can see more about what I do in that newsletter is all of these dates that I list. I tell you what the aspect is and what kinds of energies tend to go along with them. So I have these all itemized out. Okay, also if you want more information about the month, I do also do written horoscopes at cozybysweetstarlight.com. And they're often talking about different things than I talk about in the videos. Okay, so Cozy by Sweet, this is all one URL, starlight.com. You can get monthly horoscopes, again, around a month early on there to get more information, and you can go to anniehelpsyou.com in order to get more blogs. And actually on Cozy there are also lots of other astrology blogs, astrology for wellness blogs, and other positive lifestyle blogs. And at anniehelpsyou.com I have lots of astrology blogs for the full moon, for the new moon. So I put together lots of things for you to be able to make the most of the energetic potentials. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com to check out all of my free blogs. You can also check out my Astrology Basics and Beyond course if you want to learn the basics of astrology. If you want to go into an insane amount of in-depth astrology wonder, then you can check out my Astrology Apprenticeship program that can teach you how to use astrology for anything from self-development, helping yourself, helping your friends and family, to being a professional astrologer full on. I can help you with that. You can check my course out at anniehelpsyou.com. I also have a coach certification course. I also have a Creating Successful Online Business course that teaches you how to create an online presence and funnel that presence into your paid services so that you can roam free as a bird like I am. You can see I'm in a random place recording because I'm traveling and trying to get these recordings done for you. So you can see all of that at anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely check out my husband, B.R. Newman's site, iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. He is going to soon have a tarot companion guide, an astrology companion guide that serve as your helpers in your study process as well, plus other cool offerings that he has there and a lot of free stuff as well. Go to see my book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life in the World in 28 Days. It has become a beloved bedside companion and purse and card-toting companion to my fellow spiritual seekers. So I have heard. So you can see that at radicalprayerbook.com. If you love my shirt, this was sent to me by an amazing woman with an artist with a beautiful story. And she creates these awesome astrology design garments and all kinds of other designs as well. So you can see her story. These are also all hand stitched by adults in Canada. So you can check that out in the notes below this video. So when you click on the ... or more, all of my websites will be there. The link to see more about these designs will be there. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.